Testing, 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 testing. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 1, 2, testing, 1, 2. Testing, 1, 2, testing, 1, 2, 1, 2. Testing, 1, 2, testing, 1, 2. Testing, 1, 2. Testing, 1, 2, testing, 1, 2, testing, 1, 2. Testing, 1, 2, testing, 1, 2, testing, 1, 2. Testing, 1, 2, testing, 1, 2. Testing, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, testing, 1, 2. Testing, 1, 2, here we go, here we go. Yo, yo, here we go, here we go. Testing, 1, 2, 1, 2. Here we go, here we go. Here we go. Check, 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 1, 2. Check, 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 1, 2. Yep, 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 yep. Check, 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 check it. Check it, check it, check it, check it, check it, check it. Check, check, 1, 2, check, 1, 2. My name is Marquise Hicks. I'm coming to you live from Northern Virginia. Today, topic of discussion is the 7 C's of a good relationship. A little bit about me and the background about me. I was married for 11 years before the demise of my divorce or my marriage. It was 11 hard years. The first 2.5, 3 years was great. It was bliss. After that, things start falling down faster than I can say stop. But I'm from a large family. My mother and father was married for 67 years before the Lord took my father home. And, I was married for 11 years. So in my time and my experience of being married for 11 years, I realized that, hey, I had to sit back and say, hey, what could I do better? Lord's willing, I get married again. My heart is always open for love, but I'm not really searching for it. But I just keep myself busy and occupied trying to help others. Once again, I'm a veteran from a large family from Virginia. I have a daughter. She's in college studying to be a lawyer. So I do have experience in this thing called the world and life. And I'm just trying to help others get through this thing called life, because it is not as hard as we make it. Life is what you make it. So we're just trying to make it the best way we can. Get through it together in some type of harmony. But the first C in this 7 C's is Christ. If Christ is not in the mix, you're going to be up the creek without a paddle. If there's 2 non-believers uniting, that could possibly work because they're 2 non-believers. But if one believer and one non-believer unite and get together in holy matrimony, it's pretty much the days are numbered with that relationship, because man-made material can only maintain it for so long. You're going to have to believe in something other than some man-made object or some man-made materials. But all I know is this: darkness cannot exist where there's light. So if there's one believer and one non-believer, hey, you have to be equally yoked. There's just simple principles. But those principles, some people don't adhere to them, some people do. But that's the first C, it's Christ. Christ has to be in the mix. And if he's not in the mix, you're going to be unequally yoked unless you're 2 non-believers. But I would say that is critical, because when times are good, people forget about them and they don't even think about them. But when times are hard, they're always trying to find Christ, which is a good thing. But to me, just as me in my personal life, I praise him when the times are bad, and I thank him and praise him when the times are good, because he made both good and bad times. He made rain and sunshine. Both of them are congruently equal, and you need both of them to grow. So when people say bad times make you stronger. If they don't set you to a demise, they make you stronger. It doesn't feel like it at the time, but that's, from my 53 years on this earth, that's what I come to realize. Tough times make you stronger. Well, the second C is commitment. And that second C, I'm going to give you 2 examples of a commitment. The first one being our brother who was a great comedian, who still is a great comedian. He's just fallen on some times where he has, a woman that's committed to him. And this is an example.
The best, most incredible spirit, such a blessing. I'm gonna tell you something, it is a miracle. For me to come out tonight, even people walk with that staff, I feel good that I can do that, because the left side of my body was affected. My left hand, my left leg just quit. Be careful what you talk about. Remember I did my joke about having a stroke? You gotta be careful what you talk about, because you'll bring it to fruition. And thank God I did have the woman I talked about, the strong woman who loved me. Come tell you something about a stroke. This is your marriage vows, better or worse, in good health, bad health, rich or poor. This is who you find out what kind of person you got that loves you. Because I know some of the dumb stuff I did during my marriage. I know some days when I'm in this wheelchair at the top of the steps, I know you have me thinking, I know what you did. Let's take a ride. I depend on this woman for my total survival. I thank God for her. So I want to say thank you here publicly. My beautiful brother right here, Sin.
See, Sinbad is a jokester. He's a great comedian. Even when he's, pretty much crippled or, somewhat slowed by his handicap here, his ailment, he still has good humor, which is great, because that's medicine. That's medicine for the soul. But the undertones of this comedy, or the jokes he had, is serious stuff. I mean, look at him. He's walking with a staff. He said his left side just went limp. He has a good wife, not just a woman or not just some lady, his girl, his wife, his bride. She's there through thick and thin, good times and bad times, happy and sad times, and sickness for better, for worse. These commitments are the epitome. What she's doing is the epitome of commitment. When you're down and out, and he said it jokingly, but that's who you know who you're riding with, or who's riding with you, is when you're down and out. But right now, this woman that he has, his wife, his beautiful bride, she's there by his side. And this is the essence of for better, for worse, with those commitments. Being committed to those vows is serious, serious business. And you can't get any serious than that. But I'm going to show you another example of commitment, which is my mother and father, which I said they was married for 67 years until the Lord took him home about 2 months ago. That's Lewis and Doreen Hicks. He had all his kids around him. We loved on him way before he took ill. We showed him his flowers way before he got ill. And this is what it looks like. They were committed to each other all the way to the end. Happy times, sad times, rain, sunshine, thunderstorms, hail, rain, snow. They did it for 67 years and produced 11 kids from that union. Well, that's what commitment looks like. And if you don't think it's serious, just keep on living. You'll realize how serious commitment is. The third C in the 7 C's for a good relationship is communication. Communication is critical. If a man cannot talk to his wife without being judged, he's with the wrong woman. I never forget one of my great friends, his father, Mr. Lynch. He said to me years ago, he said, Marquise, now that you are divorced and your daughter's growing up and you've been divorced for a while, you need to find a woman. He said, you need to find a woman you can talk to about anything. Just sit down and talk to for hours. And in my mind, I was still fairly young. In my mind, I was like, what the hell is he talking about? He don't understand what he's talking about. When I walked away about 10 feet, I realized, I said, wow, he is right. When a man can articulate anything in his heart to his woman without her judging the socks off his feet, believe me, that's the woman you want to invest your most limited resource, which is your time with. You want to really invest your resources with that woman, because when you can articulate your inmost desires, thoughts, and fears to your wife without her belittling you, judging you, thinking you're weaker than water, that's a pretty good indication you're with the right woman. And the same thing, vice versa. That woman needs to be able to articulate her inmost thoughts and ideas and fears and desires to her husband. If she can't, she's going to feel like she's walking on eggshells, and she's not going to come and confide in you for anything other than, babe, it's time to pay the bills. And you don't want that type of relationship where it's predicated on money. It's transactional. You don't want that relationship. That relationship is horrible. You want a relationship where you're free to talk about and express yourselves to each other and indulge yourselves on each other openly and freely without any judgment. That's a unbelievable relationship. Trust me. That's the type of relationship you want, where that communication becomes almost second to none. Because as you get older, and as we go down in these 7 C's, you'll realize communication, as long as you can articulate your thoughts, or just you can just mumble. Because as you get older, some people lose the ability to speak like I'm speaking now. Some people lose that ability. But if you can just mumble what you feel into your woman, and she understands you because y'all been together for better, for worse, for years and years, she can understand those mumblings and what those mumblings means, because it's still a form of communication. But right now, while everybody's healthy and happy, the articulation of thoughts and ideas and fears and concerns to your spouse, that is critical. Trust me, it is critical. When I was married, I came into it happy-go-lucky. I was all exuberant and full of vigor and energy. And by the time I got divorced, I was like, wow, man, I felt like I had been through a gauntlet for about 100 years. But then I took the time to have to work on myself. And when I worked on myself, I realized, hey, that didn't break me. It made me better. It gave me wisdom. So that communication and that relationship, and I'm going to throw this out there. I think if a man hasn't been with a woman for 5 consecutive years, through all 4 seasons, 5 consecutive, that's 20 seasons. If you haven't been with a woman for 20 seasons or more, you got some learning to do, because we'll never learn all about a woman. We'll never do that. But the bottom line is, I think that's a good, I guess that's a good measuring, plumb line, I should say, of measuring the type of education you're getting with a woman. Because believe me, we are like what the book says, men are from Mars, women are from Venus. But we're on 2 planets. The way we think, the way our brains are configured to think and get through obstacles and problems and solve problems, we are on 2 different planets. Trust me. So when I was married, I used to be like, wow, man. I used to look at my wife and like, man, is she crazy? But it's just the way a woman's brain, it thinks totally different from a man's. I mean, we think about providing, protecting, and covering. We just automatically think like that. They don't think like that. They think totally different. So that communication is key. Open-ended communication is key. If you don't have that communication, you're going to be walking on eggshells, and it's going to pretty much set the demise of your relationship, because communication, other than Christ, commitment, communication, these 7 C's are critical. All of them are critical. To me, the heaviest one is Christ, something that you cannot see and touch, but you can feel him when y'all 2 or more to come together. He's present. That stuff is real. But communication is key. If you cannot communicate with each other openly, freely, you're doomed. You're done. The 4th C is compromise. Compromise, compromise, compromise. Now, as a man, as a man who's a father, because I have a daughter, I was married, so I'm somebody's ex-husband, but I was married. When I was married, I knew I was the head and not the tail, not a dictator, but the head of the house. My presence alone said it. I didn't have to, hey, I'm the man. When a man had to say he's the man, he's not. His actions, his presence speak louder than any word you can fathom. Trust me. So when you got your stuff together and you walk upright, but yet you walk silently, your silence is powerful. Unless you have to roar like a lion. The lion doesn't roar all day. Think about it. The lion sleeps about 19 hours a day. The lion roars only when it's time to eat, time to copulate, and time to protect the pride. A man is pretty much like that. We don't rise up. No, all of that stuff takes energy. It takes energy from us. So the more we're doing what we need to do as a man, sleeping, eating, working, that gives us the energy to provide, protect, and cover. So as we can compromise on Sundays, we're going to church. After church, I want to look at football for at least 4 hours. So you can go run with your girlfriends and shop for 4 hours, or whatever you want to do with the kids, or you can leave the kids with me. You got to be able to compromise on something, because if you don't, she can feel like she's in jail. And if you don't, you definitely, if she doesn't, you're going to definitely, as a man, feel like you're in jail, because you don't want a woman to dominate you, your every move, as if you got to ask, mother, may I do this? Mother, may I do that? You don't want that. You don't want that type of relationship. As a man, you want that type of marriage where your wife respects you even more. Only when she doesn't respect you more than is Christ. Because technically, technically, as the head of that house, you're the interceder between your family and Christ. A man's first congregation is his family. A lot of people don't even know that. A man's first congregation, his first congregation is his family. So he needs to know something about his Creator. If he doesn't, he can't feed them anything but the streets or some type of false knowledge. But that's one of the ways a man provides, protect, and cover, especially covers. Because as a man, you can't physically be with your spouse or your family 24/7 because you got to work. A man got to work. If a man don't work, you don't eat. So that compromise, as a man, if you know the word, you can give your family the word, and that word will protect them, because they'll know right from wrong. They'll know when to sense, hey, it's time to get out of here, because this is not my personality. I don't hang around stuff like this. And they'll know, hey, it's time to get out of here before something pops off and they get caught in a mess. But that's a part of a man providing, protecting, and covering. The covering part of it, a woman's hair is her covering, and her covering needs to be covered. That's what her husband's supposed to do. Her husband's supposed to cover her. But that's so we got Christ, we got commitment, we got communication, we got compromise. Sometimes your wife's going to say, hey, baby, I want to go shopping on Saturday for 8 hours. Could you keep the kids? Sure, baby, go ahead and do your thing. Me and kids, we're going to chop it up and do some daddy, daughter, son, daddy, kids time. We're going to do something positive and creative, but yet fun. And just give her a break. But she needs to know that, hey, she can come to her man, and she knows he's the head and not the tail, but yet he's willing to bend the knee, meaning compromise. Not compromise to the point where he loses his self and he's not the head of the house. That's not compromise. That's called controlling your man. And you don't want that type of relationship. Trust me, brothers, you don't want that. Well, the fifth C in this 7 C's to a good relationship is children. Children, yes, children. Like when I got married, I married into a ready-made family. My ex-wife had a beautiful, smart young lady. She was 8 years old, and she was a little beautiful girl, 8 years old, full of energy. And I raised her like she was my own child. Trust me, I took time to sit down and talk to her one-on-one and praise her and reward her when she did good in school. And she was a very smart young lady. She was very smart. But at the same time, a man has to reward and he has to punish, because kids, what the words say, spare the rod or spare the child. We have to discipline the children. Not because I'm home and I'm the man and I'm angry because I didn't do something at work. No, you punish the children when it's warranted, to teach them lessons, and teach them manners. And that's it. And teach them a hierarchy. That's man, woman, boy, girl. You got to teach them hierarchy. At the head of a man is Christ. At the head of a woman is her husband. That's called order, hierarchy. It's simple stuff. But a lot of people don't like that. And the more I get older and the more I grow with Christ, I'm not no preacher, nothing like that. I'm a sinner just like everybody at the sound of my voice. I'm a sinner like everybody else. But as a man who's growing older and wiser, I realize, man, Christ, he's in the center of everything I do. Every single thing I do. So that's just me. I've grown as an individual. I've grown as a boy, a man, a husband, a son, and a father. So I've grown. Everybody grows. But the bottom line is when children are in the mix, So most families these days are ready made. Men are marrying women who have a child or two. Uh, Women are marrying men who have a child or two. So they're ready-made families. But the bottom line is that man and that woman, that husband and wife, got to be on the same accord. If they're not on the same accord, them kids are going to play them like a fucking fiddle. And kids are smart enough to know mommy and daddy are not on the same page. I'm going to play them. They know it. They inherently know it. They sense it. They can sniff it like a dog sniffing fear. They can sense it. So once they know y'all not on the same accord, it's time to play music like a fiddle. Trust me. Kids will do it, and they'll do it till the wheels fall off. But when it comes to kids, you got to make sure that you can have a schedule for them that's quite predictable. Because with kids, they like predictability. From sunrise to sunset, if you can't have a schedule for them, and we understand life is life. When life starts life, and you got some onesies and Tuesdays. But generally speaking, from dawn to dusk, them kids got to know, hey, when I get up, I got to brush my teeth. I got to make my bed. I got to put on my clothes. I got to brush my teeth and wash my face and get ready for school. They got to know that Monday to Friday. Saturday, I got to do my chores. I got to dump the trash, make my bed, and sweep the floor and vacuum the house and cut the grass. And they got to know this stuff. On Sundays, it's church time. After church, we can read and do some homework and have a little fun as a family. But they got to know that it is a predictable schedule for them. From the time they're born, pretty much to the time they're about 14, 15. When they turn 15, they start playing sports and they go on to high school games and stuff. They get a little extra leeway. But pretty much from birth until they're about 14, 15, at least 14, they got to have a schedule. If they don't have a schedule, they're going to run amok. And if they run amok, the stronger and the bigger they get, older they get, it's just going to be hard to hone all of that testosterone and energy into something positive. It's just going to be extra hard. So husband and wife got to make sure that they're on the same page when it comes to raising those children. Daddy said this, it's going to be done. Mommy said this, go run into daddy. Daddy, mama said this. What did mama say? You do what mama said. And mama got to do the same thing. Daddy said this, they run to mommy. Mommy, daddy said this. Do that then. Don't come to me. You do what he said do. You got to be on the same page. If not, it's going to be horrible. Absolutely horrible. So you don't want that. Well, the last two C's, it's actually four of them, but I put two of them together. I put them in groups. But the last two C's, generally speaking, they're the cause, about 90% cause of the demise of most marriages. The 6C and these 7 C's is coochie/cock. And here's a little something for you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it from the great Morgan Freeman. Intimacy is more than just sex. It is deeper than flesh. Listen, man, I was married for 11 years and I realized, I said, wow, by the time I got divorced, I said, man, this stuff is fun. It's blissful, but man, this is deeper than flesh. Marriage is more spiritual than anything. You gotta be married to understand what I'm saying, and to have been married and understand what I'm saying, because it's deeper than flesh. Trust me. You come to yourself and you find yourself in the woman that you married to, because you're pretty much loving yourself. I'm going to break it down to you. There was man. God made man first, put him to sleep, opened up his rib, took a rib, put flesh on bone, and made a woman for him, made his wife Eve. So basically, when he got married to Eve, in my understanding, he got married to himself. So it's pretty much, if you don't respect your wife, you don't respect yourself. If you hit and hate your wife, you hit and hate yourself. So coochie/cock is deeper than flesh. Everybody from the time they start building the testosterone, I mean, hell, I'm a man, I was there, running after split tails and chasing coochie all day long. When you get a little older, you realize, wait a minute, I shouldn't be talking to a woman unless my intent is to marry her. I shouldn't even be touching a woman, talking to a woman, unless I'm engaged to marry her. I'm serious, man. This stuff is deep. But I say it again, if I could be a virgin and hold on, I would have done it all the way until I got married. But coulda, woulda, shoulda. So as I've learned my lessons in life, I realize you got one shot. One shot. Other than believing in Christ, and hopefully you do, your second greatest decision is who you mate with for life, who you marry. People don't even understand it, man. That's a serious decision. And once you make that decision, if it's the wrong decision, it could screw your whole life up. Put it on a detour for 20, 25 years, period. At the minimum, 18 years. But long as you're a father, long as you're living, your kids are living, you're a father and a mother to the end. So you got one time to make that decision. One freaking time. And if you can't make the right decision where you both are equally yoked of believers, you both are committed to the sanctity of marriage and the sanctity of your marriage vows, if you cannot communicate with each other, baby, I need you to do this. Baby, I need you to do this. Baby, I need this. I need that. Baby, I need to be left alone. I'm frustrated. I don't want to take my anger out on you. I don't need nobody to be around me right now. You need to be able to say those things, but it don't need to be a tick for tack. If I don't need no talking. I don't need nobody to talk to me for about 2 or 3 hours. I just need to be alone. That woman come back and do the same thing the next day. That's tick for tack. When a relationship is a tick for tack, it is bound to be, be demised, be done. So Christ, commitment, communication, compromise, rearing the children. 6-1 coochie/cock is deeper than the flesh. It's deeper than the flesh. Yes, he says, go out and be fruitful and multiply when you marry. So in my experience, when I was married, it was great for the first 2.5, 3 years. After that, it's like I fell off a cliff. Like I fell off a cliff. No intimacy. Felt like I was on pins and needles. You do not want to be in a relationship like that all your life. You don't want to do it. So when she divorced me, she pulled the trigger on me. That was a blessing. Yeah, I was hurt. Don't get me wrong. Now, hell, I was hurt. I thought I was going to die. I was so hurt. But when I realized I got through it, he took me to it and brought me through it and made me stronger and wiser. So now, thank God, I'm still fairly healthy. I still got good testosterone levels. I'm good. So now I can control my thoughts and actions and self. So now I can look at a woman, know she's my weakness, but look at her heart. And that takes time because I already know intimacy is deeper than the flesh. It's more spiritual than anything. So people just don't believe it, but you have to be in a no committed relationship. I'm talking about married, 5 years or more. If you haven't been married 5 years or more, with one offspring like I got or more, that's when you realize what life is all about. You learn from it. And if you don't learn from it, I always say this, I was a young fool. I refuse to be an old fool. So I learn from the past so I don't repeat them as I get older. So a lot of people don't like understanding what happened, what went wrong, and what I can do. They turn it on somebody else and blame somebody else for their downs, for the demise of a marriage. No, as a man, step up and take responsibility. Step up. Hey, I screwed up. I got divorced. It happens to the best of us. But know what? I learned from it. And when I learned from it, it's something called 7 C's. And those 7 C's, I got to balance them all now. If I should ever find another woman that I call my wife and get committed to in a married, holy matrimony, hey, those 7 C's going to be all-time high, the 7 C's. The 7 C and those 7 C's is cash/credit. Nowadays, here we are in 2024. And as I do my due diligence and look at all of these YouTube channels, all I see and hear is women talking about the bag. Women talking about the bag. I'm gonna give you an example, man. I was a cash control officer in Bosnia when I was in the Army. I was in charge of $10 million. $10 million. Hungarian foreign, German Deutschmark, and U.S. cash. That's when I realized I was in charge of all that money and I saw all that money. That's when I realized as a human being, everybody or anybody who doesn't have $10 million stashed somewhere and doesn't have to live on it are broke. That's when I realized it. Everybody. If you don't have $10 million stashed somewhere and you don't have to live off that money, and you're living off the money that you're working for that's rolling in month to month, you're broke. So basically, everybody's broke. But that's all I hear. And these are women who come from backgrounds like me. Big family, small family. Didn't have education, had education, didn't have a lot of money, but they made it. My mom and dad made it. But I see all of these kids now talking about money. You got to have $100,000. You got to do. Listen, man, $100,000. I thank God if I get it, I make it. And I do. I make it. I mean, that's great. And I thank God for it. But think about it. I'm a finance officer. I know what real money is. $100,000 ain't nothing. It's nothing. If you're putting your faith on money and you think $100,000 is going to bring you some security, man, I got to pray for you. I'm trying to tell you, $100,000 is no money. But I'm thankful and I'm blessed by the best. I always tell my mom, I said, Mom, you're not rich, you're not poor, you're blessed. You don't have to worry about money. Dad left you not rich, not destitute, but in a good space financially. So all I know is this. It takes money to pay the bills. Yes. It takes money to keep the lights on. Yes. To put clothes on your back. Yeah, I got it. But at the end of the day, if you don't have some character, and character is greater than money, because character can actually generate money. by how you treat people and how you carry yourself. People nowadays call it a brand. Everybody got a brand. Some people brand is, oh man, that dude's a thug. Oh, that man's a drug dealer. I don't judge drug dealers at all. I'm going to give you an example. A drug dealer saved my life when I was in the 5th grade. He saved my life. Yes, a drug dealer. So I do not judge drug dealers. And from my experience, drug dealers are some smart guys, man. They're pretty much businessmen, but doing it in a different way. That's why I look at them. But the bottom line is this. If a man cannot generate enough cash and credit, I tell my daughter all the time, baby, if you meet a man and he's a liar, check his credit score. It's going to reflect him being a liar. 9 times out of 10, if you're a truth teller, you got good credit. If you're a liar, got bad credit. It's a reflection of your honesty, your probity. If you don't have good honesty, it's going to reflect in how you handle money. What the word says, if I can't trust you with little, how am I going to trust you with much? You got to be able to handle a little and to be appreciative of a little. Never despise the day of meager beginnings. I'm the youngest of 11. Mom and dad, 11th, 8th grade education. We made it. We made it. But at the end of the day, a man, my father always told me, don't take no half step to no woman, meaning you have your stuff together. You have a job, you have good credit, and you have good work ethic. If you don't have good job or work ethic and have little cash and good credit, you shouldn't be stepping to a woman because you can barely take care of yourself. You got to be able to take care of yourself before you take care of another. You got to be able to love yourself before you love another. I mean, these are simple principles, very simple principles. But the bottom line is this. Everybody, anybody can fall on hard times. We know this. Just like the drop of a dime. Everything you acquired in life could be taken in a nanosecond. We all know this. But a lot of people live if they're never going to die. And when they end up dying, they dying like they never lived. Don't think about money. Money is not an end-all, be-all. It is a good quote I heard and I read from Bob Marley. He said, you're so poor, that's all you have is money. It took me 5 times to read that because that was some wisdom. That was some thick wisdom. I read that quote. He said, you're so poor, that's all you have is money. When I realized what he was saying, your richness is how you care for people, how you love people, how you make people feel, the relationships you build. That's greater than money. The words that come out your mouth, do you own up to them? Is your word your bond? That's more than money. But that's all I hear today is the bag, the bag, the bag. If you give the average person a real bag, that's just like telling a child to spell their name with a pen. When you give it to them, they don't know what to do because you haven't taught them how to use the pen or spell their name. Think about what I just said. If a person really comes into some money, I'm talking about real money, that's just like giving a child a pen and say, spell your name. They don't know how to do it. So all I can say is this, be careful for what you ask for. You just might get it. And if or when you get it, will you know what to do with it? Will you know how to keep it? And will it amplify who you are? Because money doesn't change who you are. It just magnifies who you really are. If you're a good person, money gonna magnify you. You're gonna be a great person. If you're a bad person, you're gonna be a hell of a bad person because you're gonna have more money to do more bad things. I'm gonna end on this with money. because the great Charles Barkley once said this. I know a lot of people don't listen to, I listen to a lot of people, trust me. But I heard one of the quotes Charles Barkley said about money. He said, when I was young, fat, and broke, I had to pay for everything. Now I'm old, fat, and rich. I don't have to pay for nothing. That goes to show you that people treat you differently when they even think you have money. Now, obviously, Charles got money, but when they think you have money, they treat you differently. If you treat everyone with dignity and respect, from the least of us to the greatest, you're a hell of a person. And that's my challenge to you as I say good night. And thanks for listening. And tune in again for more of Crease Live, because I'll be coming to you on the 1st and the 15th of every month with on my YouTube channel. The next episode will be determined by the comments in the comment section. Thanks, and have a great American day.